Alive and alert on the north side of the dirt. It is your man D Real coming at you with another Be Real with D Real, where Edutainment Explains. It got a movie review, no P. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Just went and seen it last night. If y'all rocking with me on my page, then y'all caught my out of theater reaction. I will give you a more in-depth covering of said movie here with this video. However, before we get off into what we want to do, we have to do what we need to do. Comment, like, subscribe, and share the Be Real with D Real page so that when new material comes out, you get it. If you're digging what a brother showing to put some dirt in my bucket, comment, like, subscribe, and share. Because edutainment, that's what I do. That's what I do. At least I try diligently to do it. Not always as successful as I want to be, but hey, it's all gravy, baby. It's all gravy. Let's get to it. Okay. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Godzilla X Kong. Godzilla and Kong? Because it's not another fight. I mean, there is some fighting. I'll go ahead. Let me qualify myself here. Okay, what I'm saying is Godzilla and King Kong do more teaming up in this movie than they do fighting. Okay. In the beginning of this movie, Godzilla is in Rome and he is fighting this thing, which is known as Scylla, mythological Scylla. If you've ever read the Odyssey, you know about Scylla. But Scylla seems to be sort of, I guess the best way I could describe Scylla is an armored cephalopod causing problems. Didn't know they weren't supposed to be causing problems, but Godzilla sets the thing straight real quick. Second time in cinematic history that Godzilla has killed a monster by breathing fire down its throat. This guy was no different. Just another day for Godzilla. At the same time, in the Hollow Earth, King Kong is having a run-in with like some kind of wolf creatures, and he basically rips one in half to scare the others away from chasing him, and gets, wolf creature goo all over him, which he promptly goes to a waterfall and washes off. Just like Godzilla, when Godzilla breathes down Scylla's neck, gets goo all over him. So even though they have agreed to stay, one in the Hollow Earth, the other on regular Earth, eventually, the movie's got both their names in it. So eventually they're going to team up. Let me tell you about the human talent before I do anything else. Bam! There you go. Godzilla X Kong cast, left to right. Let's do it. Brian Tyree Henry returns for his second Godzilla movie, and right next to him is Fala Chen, who plays a role as the Iwi Queen. Hey, the Iwi are still around? I thought they were. Yeah, the Iwi are still around. I'll get to that in a second. Rebecca Hall, she's back as Eileen Andrews. Little Kaylee Hatta. Well, little Kaylee Hatta was growing up, playing the role of Gia. She's 12 years old. Look at her. She's 12 years old. The kid be growing up. Hollywood. Nickelodeon, quiet on the set. You know what I'm saying? But she seems like a very nice little girl. So hopefully ain't nobody doing nothing crazy to her. And then my man Dan Stevens here, he's kind of refreshing. Him and Brian Tyree Henry kind of provided the comic relief in this movie. So anyways, We gets into the new empire. Excuse me, sorry about that. Kong is in the Hollow Earth. As we know, this is a very Kong-centric story. It's all about Kong, man. And arguably, and this ain't no shade to the other actors, but Kong is probably the best actor in the movie. Kong has personality. You know what I'm saying? There's a scene where Kong finally meets up with some Kongs, and one Kong gets in Kong's face, and Kong one shots him. You know what I mean? The way it's done. It almost looks like a martial arts flick. The way he just like kind of one shots the guy. But anyways, he's in the Hollow Earth, and he goes deeper, I guess you could say, to another part. Well, he gets there. Why does he get there? Because of that little fella. That little fella right there is known as Zuko, or Donkey Kong Jr., or Diddy Kong, or whatever you want to call the little fella. But when Kong meets up with him, he bites Kong's hand and runs away from Kong, or tries to run away from Kong. And Kong ends up catching him, and eventually he tries to set a trap for Kong by going into the water, because he knows this snake creature's in the water, and the snake attacks Kong, but Kong beats it and then catches up with the little kid. Eventually, they get to an area that is deeper in the Hollow Earth called Subterranea. And in Subterranea, King Kong finds more Kongs. Okay, but these Kongs appear to be enslaved. They are being enslaved and oppressed by, yeah, you guessed it, the Scar King. And when King Kong decides to come in there and be the liberator, him and the Scar King get into it, and that bone whip that the Scar King uses is and if you look at him, he's not as buff as Kong, but he's lithe and a little more agile than Kong, because he's flipping and leaping, and it almost looked like, like Scar King's got like he's got his own form of drunken kung fu. You know what I mean? Because he's whipping that thing around and he's kind of stumbling around, and it's interesting to watch. CGI, really different, really refreshing. But anyway, as you look at Scar King here, and then you look at Zuko. Does Zuko look like he could be related to Scar King? I don't know. Maybe not. Bottom line, after this brief skirmish, Kong actually kind of gets the best of Scar King, and then that's when Scar King, like all villains do, cheats. He's got a little piece of spike on the end of his whip, and initially you think that's for causing more damage, but ultimately he's got that guy under wraps, and the spike seems to control, well, not seems, it controls Shimo. And Shimo can't do anything unless Scar King tells him to. And that's exactly what happens. Shimo puts the frost blast on Kong. Kong blocks it with his axe. However, Kong gets some severe frostbite on his arm. Strangely enough, Zuko helps Kong escape from Subterranea, and Kong goes back to the surface. Well, not the surface, but back to the Hollow Earth with Scar King and company in hot pursuit. Later on, we find out there's some kind of membrane that keeps the Scar King imprisoned. Why? Because he needs to be imprisoned. He's a nasty person. But anyway, we find out later on when humans decide to come down to the hollow earth that Gia, like we always knew, is Iwi. And the Iwi queen, played by Fala Chin, is speaking with Gia. How? The Iwi are telepathic. Remember Skull Island? Ain't you keeping up? Ain't you rocking with the Monsterverse? The Iwi are telepathic. Yeah. And that's how they talk to each other, through telepathy. And that's how they were able to discover that Gia was Iwi. So Gia has a glorious purpose. What is Gia's glorious purpose? Gia's glorious purpose is to resurrect Mothra, and she is able to do that. The Iwi are calling to Gia from the surface. So that telepathy is powerful. And Kong hears that telepathy too, and that's what ends up drawing him to Subterranea in the first place. Long story short, Godzilla's gearing up for the battle because he knows it's coming. Go figure. But anyway, Godzilla gets into a fight underwater with this creature. That's Tiamat. Okay. Tiamat is like a dragony sea serpent who has this power source that he's guarding. Very territorial about it, but Godzilla ends up killing him and taking the power source. And that's why Godzilla morphs and turns pink and looks like that. Also, while Gia is doing her thing to bring Mothra back, which she does, we find out Mothra is the only one that can get Godzilla to go down to the hollow earth and help Kong with Scar King and Shimu. Long story short, the battle ensues in hollow earth, but the Iwi have set something up to where gravity will be displaced, and what's up goes down. I think that's what they say. And basically, they go from the hollow earth or Subterranea to the surface because there are also multiple portals for you to come out of the hollow earth. And that's why Kong ends up coming out of the hollow earth, but not before he gets injured. Obtains the beast glove. That beast glove has, kind of like seismic thunder powers. So when Kong punches anything or anybody, you get a little lightning coming off of it. Means tells Godzilla, hey, we all a team. We got to go down here and stop Scar King. So back to the displacement. The battle ends up coming to the surface, and it is a most spectacular tag team battle. Kong is knocking teeth out. Kong is hitting and getting hit. Long story short, Zuko comes to the surface, breaks the crystal, and breaks Scar King's control over Shimo. Shimo eventually says, hey, I'm not a bad kaiju. I'm just an enslaved kaiju. And while watching Scar King fight King Kong and Godzilla, Shimo decides, I want to be a good guy. Freezes Scar King solid. Kong picks up Scar King, breaks him into little bitty pieces, literally into little bitty pieces. And Kong establishes himself as the king of Subterranea. And so he dips on back down there with Shimo as his pet, rubbing him under his chin, and Zuko on his shoulder. So Kong's story arc, I guess from there, finally reaches its happily ever after. Kong finds his Kongs, he freezes people, and he's dubbed their new king. Godzilla, he likes Rome and decides the Colosseum is where he wants to be. And we see Godzilla curling up at the end in the Colosseum, Happily Ever After. That's the movie. It may be a little more action packed than what I'm putting in it, and I may have left some things out. I may have left some people out, but basically, I've just given you the gist of that movie. You should go see it. Fans of kaiju, you definitely should go see it. Fans of King Kong, you should definitely go see it, because Kong is showcased heavily. You know, Godzilla's an afterthought. I'm gonna just be honest. He's in the movie and he's got his shine, but he don't shine as brightly as Kong. This is no doubt Kong's story. But what you think? Images, description, does it make you want to see the movie? Oh, and to Gray, bruh, Kong get his lick back. Kong gets his lick back in a major ass way. So if nothing else, fans of Kong, y'all want to see Kong shine, y'all need to pull up. It's on track right now. It's Saturday. It's on track to do 75 million. I think the movie only had like $150 million budget. So this one's going to be a banger. It's the second highest opening weekend for a Monsterverse movie, by the way. So there you go. Ain't no punk. Regardless of what other reviewers may say and may think, this movie's not trash. Go check it out. If you think I'm lying, go check it out. And if you don't like it, bring your comments back here, and we can talk about it respectfully, civil. We can talk about it. But look here, y'all. That's it for now. But fret not, I will be coming at you with another one of them other ones. And until I do, y'all be good. Be good to each other.